nonviolent extremism describes basically a terrorist act within the context of ideologically motivated violence or plots that are perpetrated within the United States or abroad by American citizens. It is focused on race, religion, or issue-oriented extremist motivations. We've seen now, of course, an increase in incidents involving Asian Americans as victims. There's been increasing anti-Semitism, and most recently, particularly last weekend, we now have an anti-government effort for those elements that are pushing back against the stay-at-home orders. One of the problems we have is many of you are faced with facts, and many of you are faced with misinformation or fake news. Underlying and fueling this entire issue is the notion that the United States is projected to be a minority country by 2045, which is quite interesting because just about 6 or 7 years ago, the projection was 2050. The New York field office said that white supremacists and neo-Nazis were encouraging their members to spread coronavirus to law enforcement and Jewish communities. Last month, we also had a 36-year-old. He was a racial, religious, and anti-government extremist who plotted to bomb a Kansas City medical center where COVID-19 victims were being treated. The Bureau had an analysis that predicted and warned of an increase in hate crimes against Asian Americans. Last month in Louisville, Kentucky, there was a liquor store there that on their marquee, they had "Thanks China." The Asian Pacific Policy and Planning Council has been establishing a site. Here's what they found so far. In reports of verbal harassment, shunning, and physical assault. Their first week online, they had 670 complaints. By the second week online, they had more than 1,100 complaints. They're averaging 100 complaints a day. They're all staying at home now, but where they are occurring are grocery stores, pharmacies, and big box retail stores. I'll speak about USC. We successfully moved 7,000 classes online on Zoom. But we have been the victim, like some other universities, of Zoom bombing. White nationalist hacktivists come into our classroom and spout incredibly racial and anti-religious and mostly anti-Semitic things when we're trying to teach classes. And that's been very, very disturbing. And unfortunately, I believe we've got a handle on that. They are watching how we respond to this pandemic. This is a learning opportunity for them. We have our issue-oriented categories, and we have those individuals who are what I call anti-government, anti-immigrant, anti-gay, you name it. We can't get away from the politics of this matter. These anti-government organizations and movements and recruitment actually ebb and flow with Democratic and Republican administrations. What's really disturbing now in the Trump era is that this activity is not waning as it did during other Republican administrations. They are actually picking up steam and gaining momentum. We've seen an interesting display of weapons and armament and people protesting under the guise of stay at home during the last several weeks. So let me give you some things that you can do and some things that you can look at. The Anti-Defamation League's heat map, hate, extremism, anti-Semitism, and terrorism. It details extremist and anti-Semitic incidents across the nation. If you'd like a broader picture, you can go to the Southern Poverty Law Center's Hate Watch site, which does the same thing on a more global perspective. What are we doing online to stop some of this online challenges? The ADL, Moonshot, CVE, and Gen Next Foundation is a partnership that online is pushing back against people who try to search for certain extremist ideologies. For example, if you go on and say, I want to join the KKK, Redirect will take you to an Anti-Defamation League project to ask, why do you want to join the KKK? What kinds of things interest you there? And hopefully deterring them from going further on to join extremist organizations or partner with others online to talk about that. All threats and threateners are not equal, but most threateners are unlikely to carry out their threat. However, all threats must be taken seriously. One of the challenges we have is the underreporting of these incidents that are happening. We're in the process now of working with several organizations across USC. We're working with them to possibly put together an interactive map of where things are happening on our campus, where things are happening in Los Angeles, and hopefully we'll broaden this to a conversation of where things are happening in the county of Los Angeles. We need your help. Education and awareness will get us through this. And I say to all of you, fight the virus of hate.